newborn pediatric care.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. We have a great show for you ahead. Darpan back on the show, talk about her fabulous book. If you're a woman living perhaps with some hormonal issues and you're having trouble trying to convince your doctor to have that conversation, Darpan is here to help out all the women out there. And speaking of women, St. Joe's Women's Centre celebrating their 40th anniversary. They've got their big event coming up. We're going to catch up with Ali and talk all the details about that, and of course talk about the wonderful programs that they offer. Orpheus Musical Theatre, latest production is, you know what? You're going to have to tune in to find out, because JT is here with one of the cast members on the show. We've got all that more, but we start here in the kitchen with Ben Baird. He's the executive chef at the Pelican Seafood Market and Grill, and I see that he has brought some of the most beautiful looking scallops I have ever seen in my life here. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am excellent,
Good.
Thank you. This is why people go to a fishmonger like yourselves, because it's all about the product, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And these are some lovely scallops we're bringing in these days. They are a Digby scallop. I'm in love with them. They are a U10 scallop, so it means you get under 10 of them in a pound.
Okay.
So they're big and beefy. They're fresh. They come in frozen, so they're as fresh as you thaw them.
Right.
You know, they're frozen at sea. Beautiful product. Actually, sorry, not frozen at sea. They're frozen. They're harvested and frozen right away.
Right.
So their freshness is maintained.
Nice.
Fresh scallops, you get into a little. They're sketchier to eat raw.
Right. Right. I
Unless
gotcha.
you're obviously on the coast, which we are not.
No, we are not.
No.
But we're close.
We're close enough.
Yeah, we're close enough. And I noticed too, you have them sitting here on a little bit of paper.
On a paper
right?
towel.
On a paper towel.
So we're going to do two things with our scallops. We're going to sear a scallop in the second segment, and we're going to do a scallop crudo in the first segment.
Okay.
Both of which, I mean, to sear a perfect scallop, you need to have a hot pan. You're welcome.
Okay.
And a dry scallop. So this morning I got into the restaurant about 7:30, and I immediately put my scallops on a paper towel, and then I changed it twice, wrapped them in a paper towel, brought them here, and you'll see that the paper towel is now dry under them.
Yeah.
It's gonna you introduce moisture to a hot pan, it steams, doesn't sear. That's
Gotcha.
the simple.
So
math
you're
behind it.
basically poaching it instead of searing it.
Yeah,
kind of.
and we want to get that nice crust. That's
Right.
the secret to a perfectly seared scallop.
Okay.
It also helps maintain the flavor to not keep fish. You know, people buy fish, we put in a plastic bag. That's to keep your car clean and your grocery bag clean to get it home.
Right.
I don't like to keep any kind of protein in that plastic bag.
Okay.
I like to keep all my proteins dry. You get a longer shelf life. You get a better flavor. It's just generally better.
So as soon as you get it home, would you suggest get it out of
I
there?
get it out of that bag and I put it on a paper towel, even if I'm going to
Okay.
cook it tomorrow night.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I'm not organized enough to think of dinner 3 days ahead. So
That's okay. Then that way it's always fresh.
yeah,
Right.
Today
It's
for
very
tomorrow
European.
is a huge
Yeah.
win. So we're going to start with a crudo, which is a raw scallop application. So you want to make sure you keep if you're going to buy a fresh scallop, keep it cold. If you're going to thaw a frozen scallop, thaw it in the fridge, keep it in the fridge until you're about to use it. So I just, before we went live, I took the ice, I have an ice pack here,
Yeah.
I took the ice right off it. So we maintain cold because we're eating it raw. That's what a crudo is. A crudo is Italian for raw. You could do this with
right.
salmon or tuna or, mahi-mahi, all kinds of different applications. And I used to do this with fresh lemon juice and really fine olive oil. But I
Okay.
recently met Aurelius Olive Oil, who I know that you know.
So good.
And I've been incorporating his olive oils into our School of Fish classes, and we're using them in the kitchen. And we recently created, we kind of...
So you work with Mike
Yes.
to come up with this,
yeah,
right?
and this is, we took his flavors, but we kind of, what's the word? We picked these flavors. It's Monday.
To pair with seafood.
Yeah, to pair with seafood, with
Yeah.
raw seafood specifically.
Oh, raw seafood.
Yeah,
Okay.
seafood lovers. We left raw out of the title. I don't know if the camera can zoom in on that. But we have 3 flavors in here. And the intention is that we can make a really easy scallop crudo, or any kind of crudo, which we're going to do,
Right.
with the Persian lime olive oil and the white balsamic grapefruit,
Oh,
which
great
is also
flavors.
really good on an oyster.
Really?
Really good on
I
oyster.
can imagine.
Instead of a
and you were
mignonette.
saying mocktails too, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people do. Well, even
they do.
regular cocktails,
Yeah.
but I think flavors like this have really brought up the mocktail game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even,
yeah.
I mean, real like a shrub is basically one of these. It's a sugar syrup that you infuse with flavors, and bartenders, very trendy.
Right.
This is very simple. The other one we have in our trio is a cucumber melon. which is surprisingly delicious on an oyster. So that's why we picked those 3.
I love it.
Persian lime olive oil and the 2 white balsamics.
I think that's the only one I haven't tried out of those 3 is the cucumber melon.
Well, you're going to have to try it today then.
Okay.
So basically, for a crudo of any sort,
that's if you screw up the crudo. Yes. It's called a scrudo.
I'm getting ahead of myself. We want to thinly slice our scallop. That guy was a little broken, but we're going to lay him on the plate. I'll get that out of the way.
Okay. And
it's just, again, really simple, thin slices, and we lay them out.
This is a great little sort of appetizer, right? If you're having friends over, family over, you want to kind of wow them with something a little different.
Yep, and it's so fast to make, as you're going to see. So, I mean, there's just 2 of us eating today, so I'm not going to make a ton.
All right.
Anyway, so we lay our scallops out.
Okay.
And then it's as simple as. So we take a little of the white balsamic grapefruit, and we're just going to drizzle a little bit over top of each one. Doesn't take a lot. It's like a teaspoon on the plate.
I should mention while Ben is doing this, Mike George from Aurelius, he was just on the show talking about November 1st to the 11th. He is a minimum of 5% of the proceeds going to a fantastic organization that supports veterans here in this country. So This is a great time to purchase from him.
What a great
salt here. Yeah, no kidding.
A little bit of finishing salt. This is a fleur de sel. You could use a Malden salt. Just a little bit of pepper. And I mean, really, that's all we need to do. And like the color of the olive oil is so good.
Yeah, no kidding.
But since I was walking out of the kitchen and they had a few crispy capers, I can't, you know.
Yeah, of
course. You could garnish this dish till you're blue in the face, pickles, anything.
Right.
So good. But I mean, you got to try that. Like taste that while I talk about
it.
The simplicity, the flavors. I mean, you taste the scallop, you get that hit of acid, a little bit of the lime from the olive oil. I think it works really well. And you're making it in sec. You don't even juice lemons anymore. You open a bottle, just drizzle it on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Salmon, tuna, mahi, any fish that you can eat raw, you could stew it like this. It's that simple.
Seasonally, do you guys bring in different, like what's sort of seasonal right now, or does it matter this time of year?
Seasonal, right? I mean, for us right now, we're getting ready for the holidays.
Right.
That's why we're bringing in new products like this. In the seafood world, I can't think of anything that's kind of, we have everything in stock.
Right, okay.
The mussels are really good right now. Lobsters are coming back in nice and fresh,
really?
thick shells.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, we'll just keep busy.
And by the way, the addition of these little crispy nuggets,
the capers.
The capers are, it's perfect, right? Because you add a little crunch to it.
Yep. But the flavor, it's the flavor of the scallop. And a little bit of the balsamic helps the olive oil as well. The crunch of the salt.
So these are the large ones. Like if you get, you know, sometimes do you guys get the small ones in, or
we do get small ones?
You do,
for sure. Yeah, we have some really nice frozen pack of Ile de Magdalene. I think they're 10-20s, so that's 10 to 20 in a pound.
Okay.
We have bay scallops, which are like 120 in a pound.
Oh, really?
Many different varieties.
So do you use those differently than you would prepare something?
You would never try to sear a bay scallop because by the time you get the crust, it's so cooked.
Okay.
Like for searing, you want the bigger scallop. And likewise for a crudo, you could slice a little bay scallop.
Right.
It would take you quite a while to get a plate.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be as visually appealing. But the Ile de Magdalene 1020s would work well for both applications.
Oh, really? Okay.
We have U10s thawed on the counter, and we have some other frozen products.
So for those small ones, if you're not searing them, how would you
go in chowder and seafood stews and
Makes
a pasta
sense.
where it's a quick saute.
Okay.
And one other quick thing that I didn't mention is...
You know what? Hold that thought. I'm going to put you on pause. Ben is on pause. He'll be back for a second segment, and he'll finish that thought and then show you how to sear them properly to make that beautiful crust. We'll be back after this.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted. Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot.
Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty.
We are back with Executive Chef from the Pelican Seafood Market and Grill, Ben Baird, and we are talking all things scallops. And you just had a thought there, Ben, as we were going to break. You wanted to point something out on the scallop, right?
I did. There's a scallop will always have, or should always have, this little thing called an abductor muscle.
Okay.
It's attached to every scallop. It's a good sign that your scallops are really scallops and not, punched out shark fin or something like that.
Right.
And it's really easy to remove. Like this, you just, with your fingers, pull it up. But you want to remove it because it gets very chewy, very tough. It's not a very pleasant, it won't kill you, but, it's not something you really want to eat.
Gotcha.
So we're searing the scallop. So I got a nice hot pan.
Okay.
And if you're at home and you have a hood, you want to go as hot as you can.
Okay. We don't have a hood here.
No, so I'm going to be a little careful. Derek gets nervous when I start searing.
Well, we've been there before, Ben. I'm not going to lie.
We bring it up regularly, too. So, hot pan, dry scallop.
Yeah.
Seasoned, and I'm just gonna set it in the pan.
Now I've heard in the past too that some people do it in a dry pan. Is there any is this a better way to do it?
I would say that's insane.
Really, eh?
Yeah. I've never seen that, never heard that. I would never even try it. It
probably would stick, would it not?
I would think it would stick. 100% it would stick.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you're...
And then you're peeling off that beautiful crust.
If you had a beautiful non-stick pan, maybe, I don't know.
Right,
I like stainless, cast iron if I can. And we're on a medium heat, consistent heat.
Okay.
Well spaced out. If you crowd them too many, again, you start to steam, you trap that moisture, you don't get the crust.
Gotcha.
And then it's patience.
Okay.
You don't want to touch that scallop. You don't want to check it.
All right.
When you think you want to check it, you say, no, I'm going to wait a minute.
Okay.
And we're going to watch the edges. We're going to wait for them to turn color. It's going to take about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then once we're done, we're going to make a little pan sauce, just something really simple.
Oh, nice.
Quick sauce that you garnish your scallop with.
Now, the oil you put in the pan, is that you used olive oil for that as well?
No, this is a canola oil.
It is canola, okay.
High heat
because
oil.
Of the high heat?
You need high heat. Not a time to use a beautiful Aurelius olive oil because they will smoke. At home, I use avocado oil.
Okay.
Get it from Costco.
Use that too.
It's great price,
Excellent.
great product, high heat point.
Right.
Peanut oil, vegetable oil, any of those will work, no problem.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, and a reminder, so Aurelius, Mike's olive oils, you probably wouldn't cook with these ever.
No, I would never.
Right, these are like finishing oils. No. You want to keep that flavor.
Salads, fresh. Okay. Like I said, with cocktail. Yeah.
All right.
We have just relaunched a scallop dish at Pelican. We haven't had scallops on the menu for a while. Scallops are those things where sometimes I can buy them, sometimes I can't.
Really?
So with finding this new source of these beautiful scallops, back on the menu.
Oh, love it. Nice.
And it's our classic. We did the dish on dinners, drive-ins, and dives.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, we have all this. So now we get to reintroduce all that footage.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. A lot of fun.
Well, that just goes to show you that you guys wait for quality, right? You can probably get scallops, right? Anytime you want, but you want to make sure you get high quality, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
right?
When we come across a new brand, we get a case, I vet them, I do a yield on them, we taste them, we eat them raw, we cook them, we do everything. We put them through the mill. It's a time-consuming process, but
it sounds fun to me.
It's actually not too bad. When you get the good ones, it's like, the guys in the office are like, we'll try them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
These are coming along.
They are. You know, I'm tempted to check them, but I'm not going. I'm going to wait a minute. Yeah.
Patience, everybody at home.
We need that searing background music. No.
Oh.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I would maybe go a little further if it wasn't for doing television, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to turn it down low.
Okay.
And I'm going to let them cook for about a minute, and then I'm going to take them out.
Okay.
I mean, we could eat these right now. It would be delicious.
Right.
We don't want to cook them well done. We want them to the center to be slightly opaque. Translucent.
Right.
That little bit of shine, kind of undercooked in the middle.
So when you cut through, you got a little bit of the crust on the top and the bottom, but in the center, it should be almost melt in your mouth. Is that right?
Exactly. And I'm not even going for a crust on the bottom.
Okay.
Crust on the one side.
Gotcha.
Remove them to a dry paper towel.
All right.
And then I'm just going to pour off that oil.
Okay.
And we're going to restart with Derek's favorite ingredient.
The butter.
A little bit of butter, just to make a little sauce here. So
Which is nice because, again, I think, for at least me, and I'm sure a lot of viewers at home, is we do scallops the same way all the time, right? And then you end up getting a little bit bored with them. Like, this is how I do them. And then that's it. I eat them. And they're delicious.
So you see...
But I like the idea that you come up with new ideas and, new sauces and things for us to try.
Yeah, right? And there's all that flavor trapped on the pan from where the scallop was. So I'm just kind of scraping all that, it's burnt on, but the caramelized flavor into the butter and the shallot. A little bit of garlic.
Okay.
And then I like to add some capers.
I love capers.
And I love capers. And I like to fry my capers.
Yeah, me too. I do that quite often, no matter what seafood I'm using them with.
Builds some nice flavor, that's for sure. And then a little bit of lemon juice.
Okay. Oh, it smells so good in here. Oh my goodness.
I'll apologize to all the guests who are going to be so distracted for the rest of the show.
From the green room, our sincere apologies. I think JT and Pablo are coming up next. So, fellas, sorry, but you're going to have to smell this deliciousness.
They're going to be distracted.
You'll just have to go visit Ben at the Pelican Seafood Market and Grill. There you go.
That's right. Do we have enough time to put this on a plate?
I think so.
All right.
How much time do we have, Steph? Oh, she's in concentration mode. Oh, 1 minute. We got lots of time.
Oh, perfect. So then just a little bit. I mean, you could have cooked this out a little bit longer.
Right.
And we just
thicken it up a little bit if you wanted to.
Just intensify the flavors. But that's just a little lemon butter caper pan sauce.
Okay.
Oh, that smells good.
It does it ever.
Yeah,
okay. You got to try one of these too.
Tell me how I did.
Okay, I will. Let's see here. Get a little caper. Oh, man.
Breakfast of champions right there. Lunch of champions.
Honestly, I could eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, for sure.
Seafood, it's good for any meal of the day. Oh, my goodness.
Awesome.
1500 Bank Street, by the way, everybody. Reservations are always recommended because they do, exactly, lunch or dinner. They do fill up quickly. Visit them online as well, pelicanseafood.ca, and of course you can find them all over social media. We'll be back with JT and Pablo to talk about the latest production at Orpheus Musical Theater. Don't go anywhere.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Are you a content creator looking to expand your audience and make your voice heard in your community? Rogers TV wants to provide you with a platform to share your hobbies, interests, and stories for free. Visit us to find out more.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Eastboro Designs. Eastboro Designs, designing a bold lifestyle through functionality and beauty.
The new season at Orpheus Musical Theatre begins shortly, my friends, and they have 3 great shows. They always line up just incredible shows, and although you may be saying to yourself, it's volunteer theater there, you will not know it because they are so incredibly professional. I have seen so many of their shows. They're celebrating their 118th season. Here to tell us more about that is JT Morris, Managing Director at Orpheus. Welcome back. Great to have you here.
Much.
And Pablo Samuel Castro. He is a cast member playing Mr. Beauregard. Welcome, Pablo.
Right. Thank you.
And my understanding, it's your first time working with Orpheus Musical Theatre.
My first time musical theater at all.
At all?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment. My goodness, this is going to be a good story. Yeah. You didn't even know that?
I didn't know that.
Okay, look at that. 118th season. I mean, this is an incredible achievement for theater in this country, right?
Yeah, no kidding. As we always say here, Canada's longest running community musical theater. 118 years is crazy for the greatest of theaters. For community theater in Ottawa, it's just astounding. But it's like you said, I think they've really survived on truly putting on a great product. When people come in, they never realize it's volunteer until I say it to them.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's the same here, right?
Yeah,
At
exactly.
Rogers TV,
It's just like
everyone
Rogers.
behind the cameras right in this room, and almost everyone except our director in the control room are volunteers, and we can't do it without those director types.
those directors.
Well, and those host and producer types. You know what you know what it's like. You're kicking off the season with a great production. I'm sure everyone is familiar with it, but I'll have you share it.
Yeah, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Roald Dahl, famous novel, was a movie in '71 with Gene Wilder, a Johnny Depp movie, a Timothée Chalamet movie recently. But the musical version is actually fairly new. I think it was 2015, 2017 is when it took off on Broadway. It does feature a few of the big songs you know from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it has a whole new score written by Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman. And if those names don't mean anything to you, if you know the musical Hairspray, they're the guys who wrote that. So they wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's a modern day take on a classic novel, and I think families are going to love it just like they love the originals.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pablo, what was your introduction to Orpheus Musical Theatre?
Well, my wife and kids have been into musicals for quite a while. I mean, I've always been into music. I've been a musician all my life.
Okay.
And I enjoyed musicals, but mostly for the music part, not so much. I mean, I just didn't get into the acting and the dancing and all that as much. But we started going to Orpheus, actually. I think our first show was Rock of Ages, which was right before COVID hit, I think. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And then we saw Something Rotten, which was also fantastic. And my son was in Wizard of Oz last season, and so seeing him was just amazing on stage. And he heard they were doing Charlie, and he just had his eyes fixated on that golden ticket. And so the whole family got really into it, and because everybody was so into it, I was like, oh, we'll give it a shot and see if...
So your son, Sam, plays Charlie, is that right?
Yes.
And you play Mr. Beauregard.
Yes.
Tell everybody at home a little bit about your role. How would you describe him?
So Mr. Beauregard, he's a hip dad, stage dad, so he's very much into getting his daughter, on all the social medias, and, she has over 50,000 TikTok followers and this type of thing. And very much into the fame and spotlight and that type of thing, but very devoted to his daughter to make sure that she gets the grand prize. So it's a really fun character. I have to put on a voice and that type of thing. So I have a very nice suit that's being made for me. So it's going to be a really fun character to play. And all the characters, that's one of the things I love about this musical. Each character has their own little quirk and their own little personality. We did an exercise where we built sort of the backstory or the origin story for each of the characters. And it's really neat to see how varied the characters are. And the colors will reflect this. You'll see this on stage.
Nice.
So it's really just a very, very rich musical.
Yeah, and JT, you know, he mentioned the colors. Like, how do you bring that experience, you know, people that have watched the films over the years, how do you bring that to the set? What have you done?
You know what, we have some really great volunteer designers again. Our set designer is an Orpheus veteran. He's been on our stages for years, so he already had everything ready to go on this. But our costume designers are brand new. Jessica and Hannah, young women who joined us recently, and they, I think, have really done a great job of playing with the whimsy of Willy Wonka that everybody knows. So they did a really good blend of all the colors and the expectations that you have from the movie, but really addressing it in the modern world. Because like Pablo was just mentioning, TikTok followers, again, it's a present day setting. So I think they really created a nice world that blends what you'd expect to see on the streets today, but also flashy enough for musical theater to capture the eye.
Pablo, what's it been like sharing the stage with your son? I mean, what a special experience to have for a father and a son.
It's been amazing. It's been really amazing, especially to see him in such a prominent role. I'm not in all the scenes, you know, a few scenes. He's in pretty much every scene. And so when we're not on acting, we can be out in the green room relaxing, but I usually sneak in just to see him perform and sing. And it's been really incredible to see him progress and really grow as an actor, a singer, and a performer. Pretty neat
to have these kinds of experiences, JT. I mean, my former co-host, TL, and her daughter, Sienna, right? Mother-daughter. I mean, you must see a lot of that because it's being community theater. You know, it's very family-oriented. Is that fairly common?
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, I was just saying before that Orpheus has survived on the quality of its productions, but I don't think that's the only thing. It's really about the volunteer network and the community family aspect that's in our rehearsal hall just as much as it is in the productions that we put on stage. So yeah, we have Sam and his, or Sam is your son, Pablo and Sam. We also had TL and Sienna, like you said, and we also Lawrence and Tegan. Lawrence is playing Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and his daughter Tegan is playing Veruca Salt.
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
It's really a great family-oriented place where everybody can just come and relax, and I think that's really the true spirit of Orpheus and why we survive.
And I think one thing, just to
go ahead,
project
Pablo,
quickly
please.
there. So Sam and I are on stage, but my wife Michelle and my youngest daughter Amelia are with costumes, so they're volunteering with the costumes.
Nice.
So really the whole family gets involved, even whether on stage or backstage, and so it's become really great, a really good family activity.
Wow, time has flown on this one. I wanted to mention you guys have a new partnership with the St. Lawrence College musical theater program, so that's exciting news. You still have your schoolhouse program going on as well. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Meridian Theaters at Center Point, runs from November 15th to the 24th. Of course, you can get your tickets at orpheusmusicaltheater.ca, and this is just the first of 3 wonderful productions. Make sure you check out the website because you can become a season subscriber as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot.
Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
Join us for the next hour to give here on Rogers TV. Learn all about the Snowsuit Fund. Learn about how you can help make sure 17,000 kids are toasty and warm this winter.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
This week on Canada Files, climate scientist Catherine Hayhoe, who is an evangelical Christian. She is raising the alarm on the climate crisis while bridging the gap between reason and faith.
Well, my next guest was just reminding me that this started as a one-day festival. It's turned into a 3-day celebration, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to grow with even more days and perhaps into a week. Who knows? Gypsy Gosch joins me. She is the president and director of the World Multicultural Festival. Welcome back. Great to have you here.
Great to see you again.
Good to see you too, Gypsy. And take me back to the origins of this festival and why this festival got off the ground.
Oh my God. We really need that bonding, love, harmony, and peace, and of course, respect amongst the cultures who are in Canada. There's a lot of immigrants, there are natives, First Nations, and it's really not so easy to, integrate the cultures to instill a sense of respect, love for each other. And I thought that maybe, I can form a beautiful team
right.
From all cultures, and we can create a platform which will celebrate nearly all cultures. I mean, now we are having not 70, around 75. We are having Portugal this time. We're having Chile this time. I mean, so many new cultures and new communities are joining us.
Nice.
So one community should know what the other community is celebrating. Like, we should know our neighbors.
Right.
So I cooked butter chicken and, cumin rice, and I gave it to my Egyptian Christian neighbors and my First Nations neighbors. I have First Nations and Irish neighbors on my left and Egyptian neighbors on my right. So if I don't share my culture with anyone, how they are going to respect? You have to know each other, and then you have to respect, and then comes love.
Right. No, it's well said. And I mean, you and I have talked about this before, and I think a big reason for it is we're seeing a lot on social media. There seems to be division, and that division, unfortunately, gets spread. And people think it gets spread by a lot of people, but it oftentimes gets spread by small groups. And that's why I think this festival is incredibly important.
Very important.
And I said off the top, right, it started as one day. You've spread it out to 3. So let's walk through sort of chronologically in order. November 9th on Parliament Hill. I know this is an invitation only, but what is the mission of that gathering?
We have a panel discussion, and the topic is preventing prejudice and promulgating positivity in a multicultural society. And we are going to have our panelist as, the U.S. ambassador as one of our panelists.
Okay.
The U.S. ambassador, Sir David Cohen, is coming as one of the panelists. And he's going to speak on the topic, and he's going to speak on the topic related to U.S. and Canada, what they have in common. They are also celebrating diversity.
Right.
They're having the election tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that is a specialty, and we have other community leaders, of course, from our community, from Ottawa, from Canada. And we have some live performances from different cultures, like, from Mexico, China, India, First Nations, of course, and we have Rwanda. So it's a mixture of all cultures, but we won't have a lot of performances on that day due to constraint of time.
Right.
The panel discussion and some performances, and of course cultural displays from many countries. They're going to promote their heritage and culture over here.
Right.
So we have food to taste from many cultures, many countries, but it's by invitation because there's a limited space availability. So
right, of course.
We already have 400 people coming.
Oh, wonderful. Wow, that's great. So, and then November the 16th, everybody, you have partnered up with Maison de la Francophonie d'Ottawa.
Yeah.
Tell me why you felt that was important.
It's very important to partner and collaborate and celebrate with the Francophone community. There's a very big Francophone community in Canada, and especially in the eastern part of Canada, in Ontario. And we wanted to spread our, love and harmony amongst the Francophone communities, which includes the French, which includes the Africans who speak French.
Of course.
There's a big African community who speak French. And we are bringing in the French Catholic Board and the French Public Board to discuss about fostering harmony through education. How do you educate the children? That's the most important part.
Right.
And that's where our children go to the same school. And if they think our parents are fighting and we will also fight, because I'm wearing a turban and you're wearing a scarf and you're not wearing a scarf, imagine what will Canada look like. So the children have to be educated so that they can go and educate their parents.
Wonderful. I agree with that 100%. About 60 seconds left here. November 30th. This is a huge event that you have
Huge
planned.
event. It's the big day with around 120 performances throughout the day. And we invite the communities at large. Even November 16th is free, November 30th is free. Please come and enjoy and join us. We have food, vendors, workshops. We have cuisines from different cultures. We have live dance, music, singing from around 75 communities, and there are 120 performances. My God. And we already have around 9,000 plus people going, and they're going to come and go. Whole day will be crowded.
Yeah, so it's kind of an open house feel to it, right?
Yes.
Where you come in and out, and then you don't have to register beforehand,
no,
right?
No registration required. Even for the 16, no registration is required, but there's limited space, like 350.
Right.
But for the Carleton Dominion Commerce Center on the 30th, there's more space.
Nice. Always great catching up with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate the time. WorldMulticulturalFestival.com, by the way, for more information. But a reminder, November 9th on Parliament Hill, it's invitation only. Then you have November the 16th at the Maison de la Francophonie d'Ottawa. And then the big festival where thousands of people are going to gather, that's happening on November the 30th, and that's at the Carleton Dominion Chalmers Center. Beautiful center, by the way, if you've never visited. It's absolutely gorgeous. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
We fought our way through Italy and then headed for Amsterdam, sweeping for Germans along the way. Our worst fear was to catch a bullet in these last hours of the war.
I was 15 when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. More than 100,000 Dutch Jews never came home. Our men were put into forced labor. By 1945, we were starving. The food drops gave us hope. And then the Canadians came.
Before Amsterdam, I couldn't have explained why we were there, all those years away from home, but the Dutch showed us why it mattered.
Papa wanted me to bring some soldiers home to thank them personally. And that's when I first saw Wilf. And I invited him over that afternoon.
Marguerite Blaise married Lieutenant Wilf Gildersleeve. They moved to Vancouver, where they raised 8 children. Today, the Dutch still remember the Canadians who liberated them.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
I think the title of the book says it all. It is called SOS for Your Hormonal Hot Mess, and I'm joined by one of its co-authors. You probably recognize her. She does so much great work here in our community. She's a registered holistic nutritionist and a women's health expert. Darpan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I love I really, and you know me, I have so many wonderful relationships with women, and you know, this is one of the topics that many women discuss, even in earshot of a guy like myself. And the book does say it all, but you tackled this from, I think, a really unique perspective. And let's talk about, first of all, the reason for penning this book along with Kathy.
You know, especially the name, right? We wanted to keep it light, something that people are comfortable talking, having conversations about hormones. All our titles are a little bit fun, light, and approachable. And, you know, we're coming to that stage where hormones, we all have ups and downs, our moods, and our partners and friends are often saying, you must be PMSing or must be menopause because you're taking off your clothes, putting back your clothes back on, the hot flashes happening. But it's still, there's such a disconnect of conversation, even with the doctors. Yeah. So a lot of my clients will be like, oh, you know, I asked my doctor for a test, but they're like, oh, you don't need it, you're 80. And we see clients anywhere from age 13 who have hit puberty and having menstruating, all the way to who have passed their menopause, because hormones is so important. They're not just for your periods, but also for any kind of chronic inflammation in your body, for mood, for libido. The list just goes on.
Right, and then a lot of things can affect it. Right, affect your hormones, and I'm sure that's something you tackle in the book. What are some of those things that affect a woman's hormones?
So the xenoestrogens coming from the environment, the medications that might be taking, even the hormone analysis, when you go into HRT or bioidentical hormones, you can overdo on them, because what happens a lot of times when people go on hormones, they don't go back to retest to see if they need to continue taking it. And that becomes a huge issue. We see a lot of detoxification pathways being clogged because of that, liver being congested because of that, and causing more hormonal issues down the road. So a lot of times when we do a hormone panel test with our clients, we're able to do it with just herbs and don't have to use a lot of the other hormones. In some cases, yes, you need them. But our focus is to be able to use them as much as possible with natural herbs and nature and everything.
So are there tests then that you can do at home?
Yes. So we are partnered up with an amazing lab, which is obviously out of the country. We always push,
why did you say obviously out of the country?
Because our system is amazing. We love our medical system, but the hormone testing that we do is not very elaborate. It's very short. So even if you're going for a thyroid test, normally they will only check your TSH. Whereas we need to check more than that. We need to look at your T3s, your T4s. For the hormone testing, they're also checking your progesterone and estrogen. But we also want to know your DHEA levels. Are you even converting them? And then your adrenals are a big issue with people with hormone issues. And that one, we want to see what times of the day, night, evening, your cortisol levels are going up and down. That gives an indication of your inflammation in the body markers, about your blood sugar levels, and that's all connected to hormones.
How often do you recommend getting tested?
Ideally, we would like people to check their hormones every 3 months with their doctors if they're doing HRT or bioidentical. With us, anywhere from 3 to 6 months with herbs.
Okay. You wanted to also talk about some myths, some misconceptions around hormones. Let's talk about some of those.
Well, you know what? More is not better. Right? Most people are like, oh, I'm taking more of this, I'm taking more of these herbs, and also doing the bioidentical. No, because as I said earlier, it does disrupt the detoxification pathways, which are really important, as well as your liver. Liver is where your hormones are made. And if you're not taking care of it and then you're overdoing anything, it's not going to function as efficiently, causing more cholesterol issues, and hence further. It's like a vicious cycle.
Right.
Yes. And a lot of men think that testosterone is the only hormone they need to worry about if they have ED issues. And that's not the case, again, because you need all your hormones to be in balance for heart, for immune system, just overall all health.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I don't think men think about it whatsoever.
No,
right?
they don't. But you know what? It is so much easier for our men to be able to get what they want from the system.
Right.
They go to the doctor, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm having an issue. Can you check my testosterone, or can I just have a testosterone without even testing it? They get it. Whereas when us females go and we have issues, they're like, oh, it's probably,
it's age, right? Or it's just the natural.
Oh, and you're not menstruating anymore, you don't need to do it anymore.
Right.
But no, our whole system is connected. So we really need to keep an eye on that. And if you think that you're 13-year-old or 80-year-old and you can't do a hormone test, absolutely you can't. We have those clients.
Right. It's interesting that, you know, you say everything is connected, but there seems to be this disconnect within the healthcare industry or field, however you want to describe it. And looking at individuals more than sort of just having a standard across the board. Is that fair to say?
What do you mean?
Well, I find, you know, oftentimes, you know, when we talk about things like menopause and hormones
Yes.
and women go see their doctor and they're like, oh, well, you know what, it's aging and, you know, all women go through it. And so it's almost like a one-size-fits-all solution all the time.
But it
right?
is not. It is,
Yeah.
you are your hormones. If you are tired all the time, if you have mood fluctuations, if your menstrual cycle is not coming regularly on time, if you have IUD, all these different things affect your body. Yes, they're in place there for certain things. Obviously, if you not want to get pregnant, so you need to do birth control. You need to do IUD, but there are other estrogen factors that could happen, and you need to make sure there's no family history. So there's a lot involved in there.
I want to mention Darpan and Kathy, they have a book signing and Q&A coming up at Manotick Natural Market. Here is the owner, the wonderful owner of that beautiful market. November 16th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can obviously register. You need to register beforehand, right?
That would be great. It is our 24-year anniversary for our store, and
There you go.
you're going to have treats, you're going to have gifts. Pop in. Register is always good, but...
You heard the lady. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Trio Financial Planning, helping individuals and families live today and build for tomorrow. Branton Renovation is pleased to support this episode of Daytime Ottawa. Branton Renovations, Ottawa's award-winning renovations team.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
This episode of Daytime Ottawa is brought to you in part by Dustin Design and Drafting, your first step toward building your dream project with a team approach. Daytime Ottawa is proudly supported by Mary's Must Read Book Club. Follow Mary on social media at Mary K. Taggart for her latest book club picks.
Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. St. Joe's Women's Centre, they are celebrating their 40th anniversary, and as usual, they're doing it in style. And really, it's an inspiring evening where you get to hear from not only staff, but you get to hear about some of the lives that have been changed because of the programs. And that big night is coming up on November 23rd, and here to tell us about that, and of course, all the great work that they do at St. Joe's is Alia Reynolds. She is the program coordinator and team lead. Alia, welcome. Great to have you here. Yeah, 40 years of St. Joe's. I mean, walk us through a little bit of the history and the purpose behind opening up St. Joe's Women's Centre.
Yeah, you know, St. Joe's is such a staple in the community at this point. It started out really small scale, so a group of volunteers saw a need for some of the women that were staying overnight in the shelter and just needed somewhere really warm and caring to go throughout the day, and so they kind of started St. Joe's in that light, and it's grown to just you know, so many different phases throughout the years into what it is today.
Yeah, let's talk about those phases and the programs and services that's offered through St. Joe's now.
Yeah, so we're really big on responding to what the needs are in the community at that point. So throughout the years, that's looked like parent-child programming, that's looked like basic needs services to support people who are coming in with really urgent needs, as well as mental health programming, physical wellness supports, and just trying to kind of, again, respond to needs as they come up. But
right.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, all because of different circumstances. What are some of the circumstances we find that women approach you for help?
Yeah, so our doors are open to all women who are in need of some support, but typically we mostly see women who are either currently experiencing or have lived in a state of being unhoused, or women living with low income. We also see a lot of women who are new to Canada, just looking for that sense of community and connection, and who find us, and it's kind of that starting point to building their community as well.
You've had a tough go. You had that major flood. I'm trying to remember when that was. It back in June?
The end of June, yes.
Okay, the end of June. So what have been the challenges of that? You had to move to a new location, but I guess there's good news. Are you ready to transition back now?
Well, we hope soon.
Okay.
It's been an ongoing process. So yeah, the flood happened in June, and since then we've been in a temporary space. So working our very hardest to make sure that it doesn't impact participants. You know, having a sense of stability and community and reliability at our space is something that we really prioritize for people coming to access the services. But we certainly had to scale back certain programs and adapt others. So we're hopeful soon, but we don't have a confirmed date as of yet, but we're really excited to be sharing that as soon as we do.
Well, speaking of excitement, let's talk about this 40th anniversary celebration.
Yeah.
What do you have planned?
So many things. I mean, I think this celebration really speaks to St. Joe's and what our mission is, in that bringing together people from all sorts of different experiences to create something special. So we're really excited to be featuring a live artist at this event, somebody who paints through the lens of, you know, telling stories of resilience and hope and transformation. We'll also have live music and some beautiful local cuisine to taste through, some hors d'oeuvres as well. So we're really excited about those elements, as well as, you know, having opportunities for people whose lives have been touched for St. Joe's to share some of their stories as well.
Probably putting you on the spot, but is there a story that resonates or that, you know, in your memory that, you know, that you can share with us today, just as an example of where someone's been and where they are today?
Yeah, you know, there's so many, and it's really what stands out to me is the community building piece. So there's people who come in because they're experiencing a lot of isolation, and they're just really looking for that kind of safe space to land and people to connect with. Connection is the starting point to so much, and really just has such a positive impact on well-being as a whole. And so for me, the stories that always stand out are the ones of people who come in and they really start at ground zero and build their way up to this beautiful big community, and just having connections that support them as they move forward.
How did you get involved with St. Joe's?
Yeah, so I've been involved with St. Joe's for about 3 years now. Okay. Originally I came to the center as a placement student while I was studying at Algonquin.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's been a really amazing journey to be able to experience, you know, not only the wonderful sense of community that exists within the staff team, but how that desire to really have collaborative growth and community healing just extends to all our participants, our volunteers, and just the community at large. It's such an important part of what we do.
Where does your funding come from?
So we're primarily city funded.
Okay.
Our core funding comes from the City of Ottawa. But funding for all of our programs, including our food security programming, comes from grants as well as community donations. So we really rely on our community for support and helping to keep those programs kind of going.
Yeah, how important are events like this to providing sort of those extras that are necessary?
Hugely important, yeah. I mean, programs like our meal program that serves warm lunches to several thousand women every year are entirely funded by community donations and grants as well. But yeah, they're huge. Absolutely.
I've noticed with St. Joe's over the years as well, those third-party events, and you see people do it. If somebody's interested, and perhaps they can't make this event, but they want to make a difference, how did they partner with you to do one of those third-party events?
Yeah, we really want to work with people and supporting them to be able to do that in a capacity that works for them. People can reach out to connect with any of our staff team to organize things like a food drive, a toiletries and personal hygiene product drive, supporting through the holidays with things like our holiday family support program. Those are all ways that people can kind of get involved, and it's just as simple as sending us a quick email or giving us a call.
Yeah, what are your greatest needs? I think you touched on them, but right now, what are the greatest needs that you're seeing for St. Joe's?
Yeah, I think across the board right now, food security is such a huge thing, right? We're seeing more people than ever needing access to emergency groceries because the food prices are just so high, right? The Ottawa Food Bank is an incredible supporter of St. Joe's Women's Centre and a partner in delivering that program, but the need just keeps rising, right? And so we rely on our community even more to help in times like that.
Yeah, food and monetary donations, of course, as well,
Absolutely.
Because oftentimes they can go further. Hey, there's still some tickets available. It's on November 23rd, as I said, at St. Joseph's Parish Hall. It's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. stjoeswomencentre.org to find out more information about the great work that they do, and of course to get your tickets, and make sure you get them sooner rather than later because they will sell out. We'll be back with more to wrap things up right after this.
For me, the end was just the beginning. I felt I must come. If I did not come at once, it would be too late. And these places that are watered with the best blood of Canada might only be names and memories. I see it in the soldiers, the grief I know so intimately. And I will not abandon these men to it. The isolation wears on me. Slowly, the silence takes over, as if my heart has given out of air. I cannot talk. I can only paint.
For more than 2 years, Mary Ryder Hamilton painted the battlefields of the First World War, creating an unforgettable visual record of service and sacrifices at immense personal cost.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap things up by reminding you of some of the great events that we discussed here on today's show. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory being put on by Orpheus Musical Theatre. Just such a special place, as I said earlier, 118th season, which is hard to believe. This is the first of 3 shows, by the way, for the 2024-2025 season. Kicks off November 15th, runs until the 24th at Meridian Theatres at Centrepoint. You can get your tickets at orpheusmusicaltheatre.ca. Reminder as well, St. Joe's 40th anniversary celebration coming up November 23rd, 6 to 9 p.m. A wonderful night of inspiration. This is taking place at St. Joseph's Parish Hall, and you can get your tickets at stjoeswomencentre.org. You can also follow them on social media. They do a great job there as well. World Multicultural Festival, that is 3 days now. The 2 public events are November 16th, Maison de la Francophonie d'Ottawa on the 16th, and then November 30th, Carleton Dominion Chalmers Center. Sure to be 2 amazing events, lots of fantastic entertainment and fabulous food. Free admission, by the way. WorldMulticulturalFestival.com is a reminder. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time here on Daytime.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hi,
my name is Meg, and I'm the host of Fit Over 50. I'd love for you to join me for our upcoming episode where I'm going to be leading you through a no-equipment workout. We're going to be focusing on getting that heart rate up, some gentle cardio, and to get those arms pumping without any equipment. I hope you can join me for the next episode on Fit Over 50.